Yeah, beautiful. So welcome everyone. Welcome Dempsey. Welcome Zohar. Welcome Pedro. Welcome Zach. And welcome Bam. So, well, you all know who I am, so I don't have to introduce myself. I can make something up, then you think I'm a different person if you want. Uh, and so, what I want to talk about today is about life in other planets, but I figure I better talk about music, so I'll just plan something around that. So, one day I realized how there were so many rhythms all over the world connected, and how they were similar, and how people seem to play those rhythms because they like them. Weird. Um, and how music seemed to be, in an early stage, something that brought people together. It's kind of crazy, right? So, so then I started trying to figure out why people were doing music. Now, this is the part from here for the next 55 minutes where you guys unmute your microphones. And you're gonna tell me why you think people started doing music. What do you think music meant for people thousands of years ago when they started making it?
Like to express their feelings.
Say it again, sorry.
Like to express their feelings.
Yeah, very good. What else?
To make new feelings and feel good.
To make new feelings, oh, that's for sure.
Maybe to like escape if there was something bad in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
To imitate the nature.
What?
Imitate the nature.
Imitate the nature, yes. Okay, I've got four uh, beautiful and accurate answers. You guys have more? I have more, but I'm gonna wait for you. And dance festejo in my head.
To make people dance.
Hey, that also. People dance, yeah.
Para volver al orden.
Para volver al orden, to come back to balance themselves out, to come back to inside order. Um, what about worship? Wasn't that an old thing too? They still do it. People still do it. And I think that was also an old one. So, okay, so we have a bunch of different reasons. What about community? What about being together? What about celebration? Was that also a reason to do music, you think?
Yeah.
Because it still is. In fact, many music styles are named after the word celebration in different connotations of the word. So I'm gonna be showing you a couple of different musical examples, and um, I'm going to make you travel through through the world. I made a little map, but I don't know if you will see it. Oh, you see it very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's Canada, here's Spain, and here's Alaska, right? Alaska. So,
No.
you know, um, if you think about colonization and how that part of history was, if you think about it, you got Africa, and one of the big travels in Africa. My fingers Africa. So one of the travels was, a lot of Africa moved to Morocco, which moved then to Spain, which moved to a lot of the Americas. There were other movements too, but that was one of the main ones. That's probably the biggest movement in the history, in slavery. and how a lot of cultures got mixed in the process. So we got all of Africa filtering through Morocco, filtering through Spain and Portugal, and then sailing to all these countries in South America. So for you, this is Europe and this is South America, right? Or it's like this? East-west or east-west? Okay, so so if you think about it, if we do a triangle between a line between Morocco, Spain, and Latin America, we got there sort of a key event and three key places in the history of music of this whole continent, you know. So since a lot of music got filtered through Morocco, Spain, you can find so many influences from that geographical area in the music of the Americas. So I'm going to show you first one example of what I meant by community. There's a little story that I'm going to tell. It's a music called Hawariat from the center south of Morocco. It's all played by women. And the way I discovered that style of music was through a recording that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the first recording I ever heard. And then I went there to try to meet these women. But in fact, it's very difficult. Especially, it's very difficult as a man to meet them because it's a very close community. Men and women don't mingle too much, don't mix too much. And when I finally got to meet them, the only way I could get them to show me the music was to hire them for a private show, which I did. Paid them $100. They played for me for 2 hours. But the way this happened is that we did this at their homes. And the moment they started playing, they were only women with the beautiful dresses and everything. And there were a couple of kids, small kids. And so the moment they started playing, I started playing with the kids. This whole thing was very formal. So I started playing with the kids and dancing, and they're playing. And then after half an hour, they were like, dude, come tomorrow and we hang. So I go there the next day, bring food, bring things, and then everybody was there. Not only the women, but also the men. Everybody dressed super informal, hanging dogs, kids, goats, chicken, neighbors, all kinds of animals. And we hung from 5 p.m. all the way playing all this time, all the way till 8 a.m. So this was 15 hours of hang. Why? Because my message to them was not, oh, I'm a South American living in New York coming to look at you as a zoo animal. My message was, I come to you to have a human experience. I'm going to play with your kids. Once we're here, I'm going to just play with your kids, have a good time. And they understood that and gave that back to me by inviting me to their intimate space, to their family space. I'm going to play you a little bit of the music, and thank God we have a bunch of artists here, musicians, and people very sensitive to beauty, because I think you're going to appreciate it. Extra points to whoever, for the musicians in the room, to whoever can tell me where the one is. Let me share my screen so you see the cover. Yes. Wait, mistake. Now.
Buenísimo.
So
So-
good.
Who's getting the extra points? Who's getting the extra nerdy musician points? Who knows who the leader of that was? You know?
I feel like at some point it was in 10, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was in 10, the second half. The first half, anyone? So,
Seven.
you gonna say something, Zach?
7.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was early 2000s when jazz people started thinking that modulating between 7 and 5 was cool. These women have been doing this for hundreds of years. Hundreds. Many hundreds. And we think we're cool, you know? We think we're cool because we're doing those things. But in fact, traditionally, oh my God, people have been doing things that you wouldn't believe. And I always quote a dear friend of ours, Franco Pinas, because he says, imagine you get your sound. Imagine you find your sound and this is my sound. So imagine you develop that for 200 years. That's how good folk music is. Um, so, but this is like a remote group, very close community of only women that play only for women uh, in a corner of the world that nobody really knows about this. And it's this insane. It's this insanely good. Um, just a small proof that there is so much incredible music out there. And the purpose of this music is weddings, parties, births, deaths, um, something else I forget the word for. And in fact, it's trance music. At some point, somebody gets up and starts getting in this crazy trance and start moving in ways that you would be like, they'll break your necks, but they don't.
It sounds
But
like
there's a part at the end when they start going like, oh, 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 and that's announcing the end of the trance. And they end dry. I never knew why the endings were like this. In all this music, the endings are really dry. And when I was there, I saw that when the trance is ending, they start singing that, and there's a moment when the person falls dry on the floor, and all the musicians go like, "Boo," with the person falling, you know, from the trance, and then they spray Lysol on them. it's just it's just terrible to wake them up, you know, like a lot, like, and then they wake up. Um, So you know, it's all about community. It's a music that is all about being together, and it's not about how good you are. It's not about how many hours you spend practicing. In fact, the grandmother was the one teaching everyone, and she was incredible. I have hours of footage of this, hours. If you want them, you know, call me or write to me. I'm very happy to give them to you. So okay, now I want to show you something completely different that starts in the same country, which is a rhythm that seems to be everywhere, but it's very confusing. And Zach and I were talking about this rhythm earlier on. So I'm gonna play it. You're gonna clap on what you think the pulse is for yourself. Because if you clap to me, I will hear it somewhere else, and I don't really know where that is because of latency on Zoom. But this is the rhythm. Okay, I had a feeling that Zohar might know. Um, where do you think the pulse is for you? Can you play back and sing me the pulse, or sing it and clap the pulse or something?
Um, was that in 6? I
Yeah.
so you want me to clap the rhythm?
Yeah, and you clap it and like maybe sing the rhythm and clap the poles or something like that. Whatever you want.
1, 2, 3. I can't clap and count it at the same time.
I actually heard where you threw the one, so I got it. Even if you didn't do it, I got it because I heard where you threw the one the first time. So it's something like that. Let's see if I'm gonna try to play what you meant, and you tell me if it's right. One, 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 one. Is that correct, Soher?
Yes.
Okay. Who agrees? Right foot agrees. Okay. I'm gonna show you where the actual one is. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna actually beat it with this. I hope you hear it with my foot. 2, 3,
Okay.
4. One, one. Completely somewhere else, no? What? I'm gonna prove it to you because I could be lying and telling you a bunch of things that are not true, and you will never know. Therefore, I'm gonna prove it to you. Do you see my screen and do you see how cool this guy looks? Check this out.
Yes, we see your screen.
Yeah, cool.
It's a fashion icon.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not working. I might have to refresh it.
The African. No?
Wait, because it's not playing. Let me just load it again. This website, MoroccanTapes.com, is made by a friend of mine, Amino Beliamani, amazing piano player who lives here. And I'm telling you, you have gold in this website. Yeah, you got it. Remember the rhythm. I promise I'll give you all the samples, but we don't have that much time, and I can't cover a lot of material. But yeah, you see, the rhythm by itself sounds. It has such a deep feeling if you just play it. But then when you add the melody, it starts to do this thing, you know, that it's grooving so hard. So what happened is that Morocco, that rhythm, exactly that rhythm, traveled here, and traveled here. You can find, and in fact, also to the islands, you can find that exact rhythm in Mexico, in Dominican Republic, in Venezuela, and in Peru. It just looks a little bit different. It sounds a little bit different. And the subdivisions are a little bit different. Let me show you the same version of this, but in Peru. This sample is courtesy of my friend Zach, who gave it to me today. I had a different one, which I might show you anyway. But do you see it here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it.
Eufrasio, ALJA, con la cabeza pelada y la batea llena de barro.
Same rhythm.
Escuchen esta historia de Tina la Valentina. Escuchen esta historia de Tina la Valentina. Que en el callejón del buque me la conto y es así. Que en el callejón del buque me la conto y es así. Dicen que el negro Eufrasio trabaja ni para el diablo. Dicen que el negro Eufrasio trabaja ni para el diablo. Pero hace mediodía se ha puesto a trabajar. Pero hace mediodía se ha puesto a trabajar. Lleva la bate de barro en la cabeza pelada. Lleva la bate de barro en la cabeza pelada. Pero anda pregonando. Pero anda pregonando.
You guys like fade outs? Wow. That's mind blowing to me. This, we're talking about 7,000 kilometers, no more, 9,000 kilometers away. And you're telling me they play the same rhythm? No, that's mind blowing for me. Let me show you a different example in Mexico. So far, it's pretty similar. Peru. Morocco. Peru. Right, very similar. Now you're gonna see the version, the Mexican version of this rhythm. And Zach, you're gonna laugh because I'm gonna show our friends.
Which friends?
You'll see. I like showing my friends in these things. Give me some volume and give me some play. Try to find the same rhythm. It's gonna be a little bit different, but I promise it's the same.
¿Quién soy yo para cantarte? Si tú ya tienes un coro, si tú ya tienes un coro, ¿quién soy yo para cantarte? ¿Quién soy yo para cantarte? Si tú ya tienes un coro, si tú ya tienes un coro.
Listen to the bass.
¿Quién soy yo para cantarte? Si tú ya tienes un coro, si tú ya tienes un coro, ¿quién soy yo para cantarte? Siento mucho molestarte, si es mi culpa yo lo ignoro. Solo quería recordar lo mucho que yo te adoro.
Gonna stop again. I'm gonna send you all this music if you want it. So, what happened? What happened? What happened in Mexico? They took the exact same hits, but but now it was only bass. Before it was high, low, high, low. In Morocco, and then the Mexicans said, we're gonna do it all in the lows. One. But it's the same hits. That can only mean, to me, seeing that 9,000 kilometers away, and then 4,000 kilometers away, and this is like 9 also. If it's so similar, it can only mean to me that what you like, what feels good for you, might feel good for me. Holy cow. You mean we're similar? We mean I'm from Venezuela, you're from Brooklyn, and we're similar people? More than we think? What a revolutionary thought. It's almost as revolutionary as my pink and green light behind my wall. It really shines a light for me on just we're human beings, and what feels good here feels good here. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how you look like. It doesn't matter where you grew up. It doesn't matter if you like vaca frita or sushi. It doesn't matter what your preferences between toothpaste and chocolate are. Seems to me that what feels good for me might feel good for you too. At least in music, I mean, so many places all throughout the world have the same rhythms. And I could go on a list forever finding similarities. I'm going to give you, I think, 1 or 2 more about this particular rhythm. In Dominican Republic, Alaska. Now, in Dominican Republic, which is about here, they have the same thing, but these guys play it just straight 4. Same hits, but straight 4. So more screen sharing for you guys. Although there's no video in this one, but whatever. Just his face is worth it.
Mi compadre está muy grave y no lo puedo evitar, temiendo yo que si muere a mí me quiera llevar.
Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz. Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz.
Oigan todos los vecinos, vamos a ponernos a rezar y casi muere mi compadre, que no me quiera llevar.
Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz. Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz.
Me debía unos cuantos pesos y se lo voy a perdonar, casi muere mi compadre, que no me quiera llevar.
Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz. Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz.
En los ojos se le ve la mala intención que tiene y aconsejen los señores que si muere no me hiere.
Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz. Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz.
Y así se murió el compadre, pero no te apures, comadre, que yo la voy a atender lo mismo que mi compadre.
Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz. Vaya de paz, mi compadre, vaya de paz.
Mándeme la viga de allá del cielo, compadre, a ver si me anivelo. Tráigame agua bendita para rociarle a mi...
Sorry, my fade outs are a bit clumsy.
I was gonna say I really like your old school like analog studio fade outs.
Yeah. I'm all about analog. You should see my studio. 1% digital, 300% analog. So, Dominican Republic, right? I'm gonna go to Morocco. Dominican Republic. Peru. Holy shit. You mean in Peru and Mexico and Dominican Republic and Morocco and probably a bunch of other places in the world, they play the same rhythm? It's crazy to me. I don't get it. Too much. Blows my mind. We could go for like 15 countries that have a rhythm that is similar. Actually, wait, give me a second. Okay, so yo, now I see two cabos. Wow, welcome, Nora. Now I see. Now I finally see Zohar's hair.
He stole it. We switched.
You
He
switched.
took all my hair. Yeah.
You took all your hair, exactly.
Yeah.
And painted black. Welcome, Nora. We're having fun.
Yeah.
We're talking about Skittles and toothpaste with flavor of chocolate. And we'll talk about some music later, but it's not so important. So, yes, we all seem to like the same things, but we also seem to interpret it in our own ways. You see the Moroccans feeling this thing in 6, and the Dominicans feeling this thing like a straight 4. But it's all the same thing. Everybody's everybody's just interpreting the same thing a different way. We have some in 6, some in 4. I'm gonna show you a little bit of a crazy one, which for me, this half of the screen knows about it, and this other half. No, actually, Noga and Zohar have heard this before. It's my fault. Check this out. There's a country in the world that they're silly enough that they thought, okay, 6 is cool, okay, 4 is cool. Why don't we do something in the middle? Why don't we, 6, 4, 5? Why don't we do that? I would play the same rhythm, but we just bring it to 5. Weird. I mean, it's not that weird. We have 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 hands. No, 2, whatever. You get it. You get my point. So check this out. Is it anybody's birthday today? No. The first time I showed this song to Zohar and Noga, it was a Fat Cat's birthday, Adam Bach's birthday in Havana, Cuba, the first day we arrived there. Yeah. So let me play this song for you. It's a happy birthday song from like the southeast part of Venezuela.
La
noche se muestra hermosa y rebosa de alegría. Las estrellas dicen cosas titilando poesía. La luna canta sonriente y se inclina frente a ti para desearte por siempre un cumpleaños feliz. La noche se muestra hermosa y rebosa de alegría. Las estrellas dicen cosas titilando poesía. La luna canta sonriente y se inclina frente a ti para desearte por siempre un cumpleaños feliz. Para desearte por siempre un cumpleaños feliz. Apaguen las velas y piquen la torta, que la noche es corta, la fiesta está buena. Y para brindar por tu felicidad, saquen una botella de ron que quiero tomar, y que esté parando dure hasta la madrugada. Apaguen las velas y piquen la torta, que la noche es corta, la fiesta está buena. Y para brindar por tu felicidad, saquen una botella de ron que quiero tomar, y que esté parando dure hasta la madrugada. La noche se muestra hermosa y rebosa de alegría. Las estrellas dicen cosas titilando poesía. La luna canta sonriente y se inclina frente a ti para desearte por siempre.
Analog fade out. So we have 3 Venezuelans in the room. 4, because I'm also Venezuelan, mostly. And we have, as of today, we have 4 honorary Venezuelans. But I heard the story from an old man a long time ago that this rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Used to be a 6. And you should know that this rhythm is actually a sort of an elite rhythm from the city where I'm from, Caracas. It's like a ballroom music from the 30s and 40s. And if you hear this music the way it was played back in the day, it was very much like a 6. So they call cañonero, I think. And then time went by, and they shortened it a little bit. It started feeling like this. Like, it's not really square, and it's just making me move, and I don't really know why or how, but I like it. And then time passed. I don't think it was until maybe the 70s when they started playing as a straight 5. I can give you, by the way, if you write me an email, I can give you a selection of songs of this style from the 40s until today that show how it evolved. It's really beautiful, because now it's straight like. And if you think about it, it's the same thing as the Moroccan thing. Morocco. Venezuela. One. Somehow in 5. In fact, traditionally, it kind of sounded like. So again, another rhythm, this time in a weird, strange 5 3/4 of a half meter. It's just insane. Again, the list is really extensive of the countries that have the same rhythm. Let me see what I got here. Cool. There's like 7 million things that derive from this whole thing. But because we have only an hour, I want to ask you guys a question. And my question is, do you have questions? I think Zohar has a question. He says no, but I think he does. Zohar, what's your favorite note on the piano?
I have a question.
You have a question before Zohar tells us his favorite note on the
Oh,
piano?
no. I can't do that.
Okay, Zohar, what's your favorite note on the piano?
I don't have one. Never really thought about that.
No? Okay. If you ever have one, let me know. If you ever. I have one. I have one favorite note on the piano. You know when you're playing the piano and everything is sounding pretty even, and suddenly you hit one where the string is broken, or the hammer is like
Oh,
that one. I love that one. I remember there was one day in we were playing at Birdland with the orchestra, and there was one note in the piano that had a problem. So Arturo was taking the solo, and he discovers this note, and then he took a whole solo for like 3 full minutes around this note. I was so happy. It became my favorite note forever. A lot of pianos have it, thank God. Carlos, question.
Actually, I wanted to know how do you because there is a big difference between the old merengue,
Mm-hmm.
the old Venezuelan merengue, because the Venezuelan merengue is five
Yeah,
notes, right?
yeah.
So it's kinda 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, right? But it used to be a 6/8. What's the major difference between the two systems?
So I'm gonna
6/8
show
and
examples.
5/8.
I'm gonna tell you the difference. I'm gonna show examples, and I'm gonna tell you one of the theories of why this happened, why the change happened. Supposedly, since this is a dance music, um, supposedly, according to a story I heard, I don't know if it's true, the dancers were dancing to this rhythm like right? So apparently, according to this old man that I met a long time ago, who probably is not in this earth anymore, the dancers were starting to shorten the steps because one of the steps was a little bit too long and it felt kind of uncomfortable.
That's right.
So they just kind of shorten it like and then it sort of gravitated comfortably towards there. Nobody really knows if this is true, but to me it makes complete sense. So the hits are the same. If you get the 1 in 6, would be something like I'm gonna shorten it a little bit. More. More. 5. And I'm gonna go slowly towards 6, just kind of fading it. Most likely it was a gradual, because if you're back in the day, it was very
It's a dancing step, right? It's a dancing step.
yeah, it was a dancing step. Let me see. I can prove this to you.
It's almost like it's almost like the 5 is the end of the bar is dovetailing with the next bar. It's almost
Yeah.
like the 2 bars got like it's like they were 2 bars of 6 and they got like smushed together.
That's right.
It sounds like that, right? And if you think about it, there's an element in this rhythm and in all the rhythms that I showed you, and in bunch of rhythms that I haven't showed you, that is the same, which is this thing that at the end of the bar we have like a low note, and Connie, I
Hey!
love you, Connie. You're beautiful, and you brighten everybody's spirits and heads, souls and hearts.
Ah!
Welcome. We're talking about what? Toothpaste or something like that. I don't remember. So there's this thing that you find in all these rhythms in all over the world, that somehow they put the bass at the end of the bar and it kind of flows into the next bar. We have it in merengue. You have it in shabi, by the way, is the name of the Moroccan rhythm, which means party. In Peru, it's called festejo, which means party. I told you a lot of the names of music styles are named after different variations of the word party. But there's that thing, the bass at the end of the bar. Festejo. Right? Merengue. I got confused. But then you go to where do you want to go? You want to go to Spain? We didn't talk about Spain.
Yeah.
They have the, I have no idea how to play this style, but I'm gonna fake it. They have the rumba. Who can guess what rumba means in English? Party. Yeah. Shit, my head is in a different country. Again, the bass like almost there, and it bleeds into the next bar. So yeah, what you were saying before, Zach, it's totally that, and it seems to be something that we feel it's nice. This thing of bass and right after the high or the melody, and like it sort of goes against each other, but it just kind of works. So Carlos, to answer to your question, with a material proof, uh, like Madonna's song. I know that was Material Girl. Let me quickly do a search. If you guys have to go, you can go in 4 minutes, but I might bleed a little bit over the time.
There's no official time limit on this.
Okay, beautiful. The Venezuelans in the house are gonna be like, yeah.
This is from Cuba from last summer.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Connie, a few minutes ago I played the birthday song that I played that I sang for Adam in Cuba. But I don't know if you when you arrived, if before or after Carlos's question, but he asked about there's this rhythm in Venezuela, merengue, which you know about, which back in the 40s it used to be a 6. And now it's a 5, and it sort of gradually became a 5.
That's right.
So, and nobody really knows why. There's a few theories. There's quite a few theories. They all make sense. So what I'm about to do now is to show an old recording and a new recording of the same song. So you get a feel on how they interpreted it. This old one, I don't know how old it is, but it's pretty old, and it's played in the style that they used to play. I think Pedro, Beatriz, Carlos, any of you might correct me. I think this was the style that was played more or less in the 50s. Check it out.
Yo me fui a Nueva York
en busca de unos centavos. Y ha regresado a Caracas como fuente de arriba. El norte es una quimera y atrocidad, y dice que ya se vive como un padre. Yo me fui a Nueva York en busca de unos centavos. He regresado a Caracas como fuente de arriba. El norte es una quimera.
So you have this, right? But I'm gonna count this in 5 for you. I'm gonna say it next
No me halagas con el oro, tu ley seca la rechazo, no me agrada y la deploro. En Nueva York yo más no voy, porque no hay berro, no hay vino, ni hay amor. En Nueva York no me halagas con el oro, tu ley seca la rechazo, no me agrada y la deploro. En Nueva York yo más no voy, porque no hay berro, no hay vino, ni hay amor. Todo el que va a Nueva York se conecta que embustero.
So is that 6/8 or 5/3?
That's it's back in this time. It was played. It's kind of both at the same time. It's never entirely 5. It's sort of like a 5.5, but with this behind. So this is in 6. I mean, this is
Bam Bam, you can think also thinking about 5 against 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of a 5 against 2. Yeah.
That's another possibility. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Because now that you
That's
said
how I was thinking of it.
it's a very important element that connects all these styles. 5 against 2 is one element. Another element is the bass at the end of the bar. And the third element is this thing that it doesn't really matter what the meter is. We've seen the same rhythm in 6, in 4, and in 5. And we've seen different versions of each of these meters. So in merengue, something that happens, and Carlos, I'm gonna go to the modern recording in a minute.
Okay.
One of the things that happens in the merengue is that the 4 is always there, the 6 is always there, and the 5 is always there, always. Sometimes when you're playing in like straight 5, sometimes you will throw an 8 inside of that. Like so you think they care? I always thought that traditional music, the magic of traditional music, comes from people not being able to play their instruments proficiently and not really understanding what's going on, but playing something that feels good. I remember this one time I was playing with a mutual friend of ours, Victor Pablo, and we were playing a rhythm from Argentina and Bolivia and Paraguay called Carnavalito. And the whole thing goes like. That's kind of how the rhythm sounds. And I remember this guy is a master musician from the opposite side from the other side of the hemisphere, from Puerto Rico. And he was playing it in a way that he was a little bit more, actually more of a Puerto Rican vibe, to be honest. And then I remember somebody told him, imagine you're drunk. And if you're drunk, with what hand would you hold the beer? And he said, my right hand. So, okay. So imagine you're drunk, drink your beer, and playing this rhythm only with your left hand. That's how you should play. And then he was like, and then he tried and it was perfect. And he played with the feel that they play in Paraguay, It's crazy. So I think a lot of times these magical changes come because people have no clue what they're doing. The day I realized this, I started studying and researching with most of my time how to learn to do things that I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's my goal in life. I want to be a master at having no idea what I'm doing. Let me show you the same song. But by a modern-ish group. It's a more modern version. How ready are you? Same song. In fact, I'm gonna play a little bit of the old one.
Plato y aquí que era platero, el norte es una quimera. ¡Qué atrocidad! Y dice que ya se vive como un paya. Todo el que va a Nueva York se pone que es embustero. Y allá lavaba los platos y aquí que era platero, el norte es una quimera. ¡Qué atrocidad! Y dice que ya se vive como un paya.
By the way, it's a song about New York. It talks about this guy that left to New York in the 30s, and he was broke, and he actually came back to Caracas broke, but he went there to try to make some money. And so the song says, this dude, he went to New York, and he said he had all these marvelous jobs. He said he was dealing with metals and silver and things, but he actually was washing dishes and things like that. So now I'm going to show you the new version of the song. This was from, I think, 2002.
Here.
Me fui para Nueva York en busca de unos centavos y he regresado a Caracas como fuente de diario pavos.
El norte es una quimera, qué atrocidad, y dicen que allá se vive como un payá.
Me fui para Nueva York en busca de unos centavos y he regresado a Caracas como fuente de diario pavos.
El norte es una quimera, qué atrocidad, y dicen que allá se vive como un payá.
Ay, Nueva York, no me halagas con el oro, tú me cerca, la rechazo no me agrada y la deploro.
A Nueva York, allá no voy, porque no hay vino, no hay berrón ni hay amor.
Ay, Nueva York, no me halagas con el oro, tú me cerca, la rechazo no me agrada y la deploro.
A Nueva York, allá no voy, porque no hay vino, no hay berrón ni hay amor.
Todo el que va a Nueva York se vuelve tan embustero que se halla cargaba cajas, dice aquí que era cajero.
El norte es una quimera, qué atrocidad, y dicen que allá se vive como un payá.
Todo el que va a Nueva York se vuelve tan embustero que se halla lavaba platos, dice aquí que era platero.
El norte es una quimera, qué atrocidad, y dicen que allá se vive como un
payá. Y Nueva York, no me halagas con el oro, tú me cerca, la rechazo no me agrada ni la deploro.
A Nueva York, allá no voy, porque no hay vino, no hay berrón ni hay amor.
Ay, Nueva York, no me halagas con el oro, tú me cerca, la rechazo no me agrada ni la deploro.
A Nueva York, allá no voy, porque no hay vino, no hay berrón ni hay amor.
Check the bass when they enter back.
Todo el que va a Nueva York quiere hacer ese millonario y allá se le vuelve polvo, ese suena estrafalario.
El norte es una quimera, qué atrocidad, y dicen que allá se vive como un payá.
Todo el que va a Nueva York quiere hacerse millonario y allá se le vuelve polvo ese sueño estrafalario.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Insane.
Yeah, I know. I heard from an old guy in the reason there was a shorting of the the 6/8 to 5/2, right? That's all. It's because it actually shortens the when you're dancing actually shortens the second part of your dancing. Your
Yeah.
dance step. So it's actually easier to do it and actually faster to do maniobras,
Yeah.
with the couple.
I heard the same. I heard the same. I heard another story too, which would take me about half an hour to show you proof of it, but I can do it another day. Which is a rhythm that that started when they arrived to Haiti, to Haiti, and that developed and spread up. But that's like a whole other thing. Um, but you know, this is a weird rhythm because if you listen, the bass is rarely playing on the one. Rarely. Nobody's really playing on the one. In fact, the bass out of 5 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's playing on the 3 and the 5. So you're like, what? That's confusing. Usually, I'm used to boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. That would be Cuban. Um, but then we have all these styles that we just heard today, where the bass somewhere is somehow is in the end. So, for all of you salsa players, if you ever have to play a merengue and are lost, just think of a tumbao. Because the tumbao is boom, king, 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 kitch, king, kitch, king, 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 kitch, king, 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 king. Same thing. If you ever have to play merengue, and you're lost, salsa, baby.
I remember the first time you showed that to me. It's like it's the same thing. My mind was irreparably blown at that moment, and I needed like a week to just digest what you just hit me to.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? But again, so I opened this hour and 11 minutes of talk making the statement of what feels good for you and for the group of women in that region, in that country, in that city. Somehow it feels good for me too. I just interpret it differently, you know? So we got salsa in Puerto Rico, New York. We have Son Montuno in Cuba. We have merengue in Dominican Republic. We have festejo. We have shabi. We have huapango. We have gaita tambora. We have so many rhythms, and they all share that thing. Um, I know this is like preaching the choir. You all are wonderful people that know how similar us human beings are. Doesn't matter where we're from and how we look. But I think this is a big proof, and it's a very concrete and factual proof of that we're all the same thing. And honestly, what we want, as the titles of our music styles proved, was to have a good is to have a good time together. Rumba, festejo, shabi, all this party, celebration. I love you guys. I have nothing else to say. I never really have anything to say, but I say things anyway. And when I run out of opinions, I make some up. I try to say it with conviction and make sure that it comes from love, so it makes the world a better place. Um, but most times I don't know what I'm talking about, which is the biggest blessing because, as I told you before, these people make magic out of not knowing what they're doing. So I hope to do magic one day in that way. Questions? I think Noga has a question.
I have a question.
I love you guys. Zach, tell me your question.
Um, so
Oh,
you mentioned that you mentioned that one of the stories about merengue going from turning from 6 into 5 came from following the dancers. Have you noticed in your own playing with dancers that you play differently when that you play differently, and you notice or it brings out different things in your playing when you're really locking in with the dancers versus when you're just locking in with the musicians around you?
a lot of the music, a lot of the music that I play, especially the music that I make a living from, is dance music, and I didn't learn it in. Actually, I never learned these musics in the place where they were from. I learned them somewhere else, and then I went to that place to learn deeper. And what this did is that the element of dance, um, I just sort of discovered it in different cultures at the same time. Maybe not in such a deep way as somebody that grew up there, but with a broad perspective. And one thing I understood from day one is that who's the boss? They are the boss. You can say that the bass is the boss. Everybody knows the bass is the boss, but it's a lie. The dancer is the boss. So yes, if I'm playing with with a dancer, um, it's definitely different because as a rhythm player, as a bass player, my interactions are from here. I hear what the conguero is doing. I hear what the bell is doing. I hear what the drummer is doing. I hear what the soloists are doing, how the piano is comping, and I bounce off of that. Or the opposite. I hear something in my head and I go like, here you are. What you gonna do? With the dancer is a beautiful balance between mixing the inner self, which is what we feel in the ears. We hear inside. So with the dancer is a beautiful balance between the inner self and the outer world. Because even though the sight is something that gets reflected, we think of the sight as something external. We're looking there, but we're hearing here. So what happens when you play with a dancer, for me at least, is that all of a sudden these two forms of life get combined, the inside and the outside. So yeah, to answer your question, it's very different. They're still bouncing off of what I do, and I'm still bouncing off of what they do. It's still reciprocal, even though they're the boss. But I feel it balances out things more. Especially musicians, we tend to be very much self-absorbed in our art and think that what we do is the best and the most pure. But listen, black and white, good and bad, all infinite points in the infinitely dimensional spectrum of life are cool and they help each other grow. so so yeah, and in fact when I'm playing, often I consciously imagine dancers. uh, the two art forms grew together. Play some rhythm to a kid, he's gonna start dancing. He can't play it yet, a little baby, but he's gonna move. So the two things evolve together. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm playing. And the good thing about playing bass is that you cannot really not dance. Even if you're playing still, you're still doing this thing. Especially if you play upright, you're still doing this thing. And if you wanted to groove, you need certain bounce, a certain physical bounce. You can only groove from inside time. You have to groove from a combination between your inside time and your body momentum. Um, could have answered your question with yes, but I gave you my full answer. Connie, you have a question.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to kind of dovetail on the dancer thing. Like early in my charanga playing, the great Eddie Zervagon, the founder of Orchestra Broadway, that's something that I got from him, is that as a flute player, when we do our improv, we have a dialogue. It's like that's the best, when there's a dialogue going with the improv. That I know that when I'm playing and I see dancers on the dance floor, we have a conversation. So I've come to know that certain riffs will inspire the dancers to do certain dance moves, or if I see the dancers already doing certain moves, then it'll inspire me to play certain riffs. And I remember, like, when I was first getting into the charanga scene, going to see Eddie play and watching him do that, and watching the dancers respond to his flute lines, and then listening to what he does in response to the dancers. And, I just, that was something that was really important to me to incorporate in my playing, and it was really fun. And it's, that kind of connection with, like, the people that you're playing for, with, like, their means of expression as well. It's so cool. It's like you're riffing off of each other, and it's really cool.
It's amazing. I for many years, I thought I had a very good time and a very good rhythm. And then one day I played with Connie. And then I was like, oh, never mind. For the ones who don't know Connie, she is, oh my God, what a musician. What a flute player. I can make you dance with the flute alone more than I can with the bass and my feet and my white hair and headphones and cool sweater. But she knows what she's talking about. She really knows what she's talking about. And yeah, it's exactly what you say. Is what you do can inspire them, and what they do definitely inspires you. I think Noga's question has been cooking for a little bit.
I don't have a question. I was just tapping out the tune bow, like hearing it as a tune bow. That's really crazy. But
right?
I understand. I got it. That's just what I've been.
Do you feel it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So since my project in life is confusing people and embarrassing people, so I'm gonna go with these two now. I met Zohar and Noga in Cuba, in Havana, Cuba, at the same time as like 45 other people, including Connie I met years ago. And these two human beings are such beautiful musicians and human beings. Oh my God, they blow my mind at a human level every day, and at the music level. I follow their movements, and every time I'm proud to know them, and to say that they're part of the family, part of the village, part of not only the ALJA digital village, but also the heart village. We got all beautiful people here. I love you all. And in fact, I think I say to all of you, do you guys have more questions, observations, existential doubts that I cannot answer but feel good to say, angers, wonders, stories? Silence.
I'm very curious about this thing that you were talking about, the how many kilometers from Marruecos to Venezuela, and how can all these beats get very similar, etc. I was thinking, but at the same time, about the genetic information. for me, it's that the point, you know. It's like we are all really mixed, and this is something that is part of us, you know, like that's what I believe. That's what I believe. Okay, and if we make this new DNA, how do you say that? Las pruebas de DNA,
Yeah, the DNA tests.
yeah, the
Yeah, we
DNA.
got it.
We got the answer that there we really are mixed up, you know. So for me, it's very much like that, you know. I don't know. Uh, is and because we're from Venezuela, we are really mixed, you know, from all these Arabian, Spanish, indigenous, and African, you know. So we I don't feel it. I don't think that is so weird or so. It's something natural that we are. I mean, we are so mixed, and the rhythms just show
Moves out.
like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I have a little story that clears any possible doubt about whether genetic information makes you behave in a certain way. I have a big part of my family that I only met when I was about 16 years old. So I lived a chunk of my life that I didn't really know them at all, actually. And then I met them one day. And when I met them, I identified so many things that I thought, felt, did, and said. I never knew where they came from. It was kind of weird, actually. I spent 16 years being like, am I weird? And then I meet all these people, and it was a big chunk. And a lot of them had these characteristics that I had, behaviors and thoughts and feelings. And I was like, wow, this is true. So if it can happen at the degree of, a few people towards one individual, imagine what it can do from millions to millions. So there's no doubt, there's no doubt for me that there is in our DNA and our genetic information a heritage of likes and loves and comforts and discomforts and rhythms and songs. So for sure, and I think everybody in this room probably has a bunch of different bloods from a bunch of different places, and they feel attracted to all these different cultures and music. So yeah, for sure, 100%. Cheers to that. It's not rum. It's something better. Cool. Anything else? Silence is also valid. Yes, that's my favorite. I also interact with silence a lot, Zach, by the way, in my music playing. Thank you all. I love you and I appreciate so much that you are here. And it makes me happy to see that there's people that want to hang out around these topics and talk about it and have open conversations about it. If you want any of the music that I played today, you all have my phone number, all of you. You just have to text me and say, I want it now. And I will send it to you. If you have more questions, if you want to talk about this, if you want to talk about rhythms, if you want to teach me a rhythm especially, call me. If you want to tell me that you love me or want to hear that I love you, call me, or I will probably just say it to you at some point. Thank you.
Gracias, Bam. Gracias.
It'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if you wanted to share the playlist you had made on Spotify. I know it's not going to have everything that you showed us, but if you wanted to share that playlist, we could definitely find a way to share that when we eventually post this video.
Yeah, the playlist actually has only one song because all the others were not on Spotify. Only the one you sent me, the others are not.
Yeah.
But once I finish bouncing the track for Birdland on Sunday, I'll make like an alternate playlist that
Perfect.
has similar songs. It will be a short, like 10 songs or something. Mm, yeah. Welcome to the village. Welcome to the family. You've always been a part of it, but welcome is a word that can be said infinite times and always feel good.
Thank you so much, Bam Bam.
Gracias.
you.
Thanks.
Gracias.
Thanks, everyone. Ciao.
Ciao, todos. Bye bye.
Hey.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Thank you.
Gracias.
Bye, Carlos. Bye, Pedro. Bye, Beatriz. Bye, Bye,
Yeah,
Zara.
Bam. Thank you, man. That was beautiful.
Hey, anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, for fun.
That's a topic that I know a little bit about. If you ever want me to talk about a topic that I don't know about, also cool.
Great.
I love to talk about things I don't know.
Great.
I love to be in silence about things that I don't know. That's my favorite.
I think I have the opposite point of view. I think we need to expand this. I think you have a very gifted way of saying things and also showing things, and I think we need to expand it to have a second round of this, because I think it's really interesting. And it will attract a lot of people.
I would love to. This was a short version of a 3.5 hour class that I did at UCLA that had a coda of 2 hours. So it was like a 5.5 hours of talking. Because the class was 3 hours, and then we sort of stayed more, and then we had to leave the room. And when we left the room, we kept talking for like 2 more hours because they had questions. So there's definitely more to this.
Can you make it